Okay, thank you for your time, everyone. Um, I'm here to talk about mental health care in the workplace. I'm Theo, I'm the Injury Management Advisor at DXC Claims Management. Before we go any further, just want to ask the question, are you okay? So just for reference, Are You Okay Day happens on the second Thursday in September of every month and every year. It's an opportunity for people, not just in the workplace, but everywhere to ask people around them the question of, are you okay? And to promote mental health and well-being. Now in the workplace, Safe Work Australia reports that in 2023, mental injury claims increased 17% from 2022. So that's a big jump. And that's only last year. So the figures have likely changed this year as well. The return to work rate for mental injuries claims was 79.1% compared to 91.6% for all injuries. So we've got a bit of work to do to get people with mental health injuries back to work. People with mental health claims report less support from their employer. They report require additional time off from work and report feelings of being treated differently by people at work. So even though we're still got these high amount of claims coming through, it's still sort of seen as a bit of a stigma. Mental health claims, the rank as being the fourth highest claims cost out of all compensable injuries. So when you think of terms of like back injuries, all that sort of thing, got mental health claims as number 4, the most expensive. And on average, a mental health injury claim can cost $86,000. So that's a figure that can be quite startling, and is probably the reason why our insurance premiums go up. Now, employers have obligations to staff. Some of you might be aware of the obligations in the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Employers have an obligation to, so far as reasonably practical, provide and maintain for employees of the employer a working environment that is safe and without risk to health. Now, the Occupational Health and Safety Act also states that health does include psychological health. Now, just talking about some of the risk factors for mental health injuries in the workplace. Some of the risk factors include high workload, poor work culture, dealing with aggressive customers, poor interpersonal relationships in the workplace, isolated work environments, poor reward and recognition, and management issues. Some of these probably don't seem all that surprising. Probably one of the newer ones is isolated work. With COVID and more return to work or working from home roles, we're sort of missing that sort of interpersonal connections with people in the workplace. And that can sort of lead to, I suppose, feelings of isolation. And if we're not really talking to people as we did back in the old days when they were sitting right next to each other, it's sort of hard to gauge how they're feeling. Now, some of the impacts of mental health injuries in the workplace can be poor work culture and morale, absenteeism, high staff turnover, and increase in premium. That's something that the last one is something that we've touched on just before. With staff turnover, we can sort of we've seen it in our workplace. We've had a bit of a tough time finding staff to replace staff that have left. With absenteeism, well, if people aren't really feeling like showing up to work, then that would just mean that they'll feed into this sort of cycle of not showing up to work, and it usually does mean that these staff leave the employer altogether. Now, what can employers do to help reduce the risk of mental health injuries in the workplace? Well, training is one of the things that we can do. In our workplace, we sort of can often deal with difficult stakeholders such as injured workers or angry employers. So training on how to handle those difficult phone calls is important in our line of work, but also cold coaching and trying to find ways that sort of better help staff interacting with calls just in general can help with that. Promoting a positive culture in the workplace, providing support, and also openly discussing mental health in the workplace in general is found to be quite helpful in preventing any risks to mental health injuries occurring in the first place. As for additional supports, we have the Employee Assist Program, where we do have counsellors on the ready to talk to staff who are going through a bit of a difficult time in the workplace or even in their personal life. We also have the WorkWell Toolkit, which is a toolkit available from WorkSafe Victoria. It's a new initiative to help employees prevent mental health injuries in the workplace by supplying some protocols and just some figures on how to sort of better manage their workplace and implement measures to prevent mental health injuries from occurring. Now, we also have our peer support group, which is composed of senior managers and other staff who are available to talk to employees if they are going through a difficult time, either with work or again in personal life as well. Okay, and that was all I wanted to talk about. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, well, thank you for your time.
I just got a comment. I think this is really important for mental health and well-being, obviously. And I can relate to a lot of things that you've brought up, especially the one in regards to working from home with COVID hitting and everything. And there's a lot of people that are being and felt isolated. And it's good to know that we've got support groups out there that can assist. So well done, and thank you for letting us know.
All right.
I actually do have a question. I'm sorry. I try and take myself off mute then. Was it $86,000 for the claim for mental health?
Yeah.
The cost?
So
is that over is that like over the course of the the end-to-end claim? Or is that like per year, or how is that calculated?
Yeah, so that figure is based on the total cost of the claim. So that will include things like the amount of compensation paid to a worker and the cost of treatment for that worker.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. This is very good and very important, as Zach mentioned, extremely important.
Okay, well, thank you both for your time. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Awesome. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.